In the world of power dynamics and hidden truths, few stories capture the intricate dance of loyalty and betrayal quite like the PA who knew too much. This novel emerged from the shadows of ambition, exploring how the quietest voices can become thunderous forces when pushed to the edge. Clara Mitchell, once a loyal personal assistant, embodies both meticulous precision and the quiet strength of resilience. Her journey from being Leo's trusted aide to his most formidable adversary reveals the devastating consequences of betrayal and the lengths one will go to reclaim agency. It is a tale woven with themes of revenge, reinvention, and the undeniable truth that silence can be a weapon as potent as any act of defiance. As you dive into the pages, prepare to question the very nature of loyalty. Clara's transformation challenges us to reflect on our own thresholds of endurance and empowerment. In this contemporary thriller, secrets unravel and the past collides with the present, leading to an inevitable reckoning. Join Clara as she steps out of the shadows and into the light, ready to reclaim her narrative. The stakes have never been higher, and the truth is about to be unleashed. The polished surface of the Mayfair office reflects not just the gleam of luxury, but the intricate web of chaos I manage daily. The clatter of high heels and murmurs of whispered deals blend into a symphony of power and pretense. I stand at my desk, alight with screens displaying James Ashford's Life-High's calendar, his demands, his secrets. I'm the gatekeeper to an empire built on charm and deceit, yet today, even the hum of the air conditioning feels charged with an unspoken tension. Clara, he barks, his voice slicing through the ambient noise like a knife. His brow is furrowed, eyes darting between the documents sprawled across his mahogany desk. Where's the presentation for the board meeting? Right here, sir. I offer it with a practiced smile, even as my stomach twists. The tightness in his jaw suggests something beyond mere impatience. The affair with Sophie must be weighing on him again, a shadow lurking behind his polished facade. I can't help but wonder how long this charade can last. As I organize his calendar, I note the critical meetings highlighted in Redan investment pitch, a dinner with potential clients at the Imperial Palace, and finally, a private dinner with Sophie. Each entry is a thread in the tapestry of his life that I weave together with meticulous care. Yet today those threads feel frayed, ready to unravel. Can we push the dinner back? I need more time on the figures, he snaps, his impatience bubbling over. The sharpness in his tone sends a ripple of unease through me. I've learned to dance around his moods, but there's a heaviness here, an energy that crackles like a storm about to break. Of course, I reply, masking my concern, but inside I feel the scales tipping. Loyalty has always been my currency, but as I look at him, I realize it's a currency he's willing to devalue at a moment's notice. The realization stinks of betrayal looming just beyond the horizon. The conference room hums with a sterile elegance, frosted glass walls reflecting the polished veneer of affluence that cloaks every interaction. I sit across from James, my pen poised over the notepad, a silent witness to this high-stakes performance. The client, a sharp-suited man with a veneer of confidence that rivals James Onlyon's forward, eyes glinting with greed. I can almost taste the tension in the air, thick as the scent of expensive cologne. Of course, we can accommodate your needs, James says, his voice smooth, practiced. The charm flows like a river, but beneath the surface, I feel the undercurrents of manipulation. I watch as he leans back, a calculated gesture that speaks volumes. He's playing a game where the stakes are high and integrity is a mere pawn. I scribble notes, my hand moving almost mechanically, but my mind races. Each word he says feels like a thread tying me closer to his deceit. I'm complicit in this charade, and the realization gnaws at me. How often have I sat here supporting his lies, masking the truth behind a facade of professionalism? The thought is suffocating. Trust, after all, is paramount, he continues, locking eyes with the client. There's an intensity in his gaze that I've seen before, a predatory glint that sends a shiver down my spine. He's not just selling a deal, he's peddling an illusion, and I am the unseen hand making it all possible. With every word, my loyalty phrased like an old scene. I glance at the window where the skyline of Mayfair looms, a landscape of power and pretense, where secrets lie behind five-star facades. The weight of my role presses down. Am I merely a cog in this ruthless machine? As the meeting draws to a close, I feel the walls closing in. Jameis' smile is dazzling but hollow, a mask he wears to hide the depths of his ambition. I know all too well that the conference room door clicks shut, and the air shifts from crisp professionalism to a weighty silence. I'm still reeling from the meeting, the image of Jameis' charming smile etched in my mind, an illusion that feels increasingly fragile. Just as I begin to gather my thoughts, my phone buzzes violently on the desk, its screen lighting up with an unexpected name, Sophie Ashford. I hesitate, the weight of the call heavy in the air. Jameis' wife, the elegant woman who glides through the Mayfair elite with a grace that belies the chaos beneath her polished exterior. She's always been a distant figure in my life, a shadow lurking at the edge of our world. Now her voice crackles through the line, taut with tension. Clara, she breathes, and I can almost picture her silver blonde hair cascading over her shoulders, perfectly tailored dress clinging to her form in a way that screams both luxury and desperation. I need to ask you something. It's about James. My heart races. The last thing I want is to be ensnared in this web of suspicion, but the empathy I feel for Sophie is undeniable. Of course, Sophie, what's on your mind? I can't shake the feeling that something's off. He's been distant more than usual. And I found a receipt for dinner at the Imperial Palace just last week under a name that isn't yours. Her voice trembles, a fragile veneer cracking beneath the weight of her words. I swallow hard, guilt coiling in my stomach. I'm sure there's a reasonable explanation, I reply, my instinct to protect James rising instinctively. But beneath that, a flicker of doubt ignites. When I look out over the Mayfair skyline at sharp angles of glass and steel, reflecting the sun, I realize that this fog, this world of opulence and secrets, is beginning to fracture. In this moment, I'm caught between loyalty and empathy, a tug-of-war that leaves me feeling more like a pawn than a player. The afternoon sun spills through the floor-to-ceiling windows of the executive suite, casting long shadows across the polished mahogany desk. I sit there, pen poised, the lingering scent of expensive cologne mingling with the faintest hint of tension. James leans back, his gaze steady, but there's something unsettling lurking beneath his practiced smile. Clara, he begins, his voice smooth but devoid of warmth, we need to discuss your recent performance. My heart skips a beat. It feels like an executioner's preamble. I brace myself, fighting the instinct to flinch. Your inability to maintain discretion has become a liability, he continues, each word slicing through the air like a serrated knife. Effective immediately, terminating your position. The finality of his statement hangs in the air, heavy and suffocating. I search for a response, but my mind is a whirlwind of disbelief and confusion. I've spent 8 years managing his chaos, orchestrating his life with the precision of a maestro. How could he dismiss me so easily? I thought we were a team, bound by unspoken loyalty. The realization that he never viewed me as anything more than a resource shatters my sense of self. James, I start, but the words catch in my throat. What's the point? He's already made his decision, and I'm just the collateral damage in his game of power. I glance out the window, the Mayfair skyline stretching before me, an illusion of grandeur that mirrors my own shattered ideals. In that moment, I feel the weight of betrayal settle in my chest, a bitter reminder of my misplaced trust. This isn't just a job lost, it's a betrayal that cuts deep. I hear the click of his pen as he begins to gather his papers, the signal that this conversation is over. Each movement feels like a dismissal of my very existence. As the door closes behind him, a quiet resolve ignites within me. I may have been discarded, but I refuse to remain silent. James thinks he's won. The air in the penthouse feels thick, stifling, as if the polished surfaces could absorb the shock of what's happening. I stand in front of the floor-to-ceiling windows, the vibrant London skyline a stark contrast to the dull ache in my chest. My mind races, grappling with the absurdity of James' words. "Effective immediately," he said, his voice flat. Just like that, my 8 years of unwavering loyalty are reduced to a single line in a sterile email. "What do you mean, fired?" I managed to choke out, disbelief pouring out with every syllable. It's a question I never thought I'd ask. I've been the invisible force behind his empire, the one who knew where the bodies were buried, though apparently, the one left to rot now. James leans back in his chair, a veneer of calm masking the turmoil beneath. His blue eyes, usually so full of charm, are now as cold as the glass that separates us from the city below. "It's a business decision," he says dismissively. "You need to understand that." I feel a flush of heat creeping up my neck, anger, humiliation, confusion. I want to scream at him, to unleash all the years of silent dedication that have now turned into an avalanche of betrayal. But instead, I just nod, feeling the walls close in, as if the penthouse is condensing around my shattered sense of self. "Understand," I whisper, the word tastes bitter on my tongue. I've spent years managing his chaos, and yet here I am disposable. The penthouse, once a sanctuary of power and precision, now feels like a mausoleum filled with echoes of my loyalty. Every corner seems to mock Meth's sleek, curated furniture, the immaculate desk littered with the remnants of my role, and the shimmering skyline of London that I once found so inspiring. Now, it just serves as a cold reminder of the betrayal that has shattered my world. I recall the late nights spent organizing his chaotic calendar, the weekends I sacrificed for his endless meetings. Each click of my keyboard was a testament to my commitment, a silent pledge that I would handle everything except, it seems, my own worth. Flashes of memories invade my mind, the time I stayed late to ensure his presentation was flawless, only for him to abandon me for a business dinner that ended with a woman's laughter echoing in the background. I thought it was just another late-night meeting, but how naive I was. I press my palms against the cool glass of the window, the city sprawling beneath me, a labyrinth of secrets and lies. The prestigious streets of Mayfair, where we often strolled, now feel like they belong to someone else. Every high-end cafe and exclusive club holds the whispers of infidelity, and I was the one who helped him navigate those treacherous waters. But not anymore. I am done being his silent observer. As the sun sets over the city, painting the skyline in hues of revenge, I realize it's time to reclaim my narrative. The dim light of the penthouse casts long shadows, each one a reminder of the betrayal that has just unfolded. I curl into the plush corner of the sofa, the sleek fabric cool against my skin, yet it offers no comfort. My heart races as I replay the conversation with James in my mind, the finality of his words echoing in the hollow space around me, effective immediately. In this carefully curated prison, where everything looks flawless and polished, I can almost hear the ticking clock of my wasted years. I've been a ghost in his empire, efficient, indispensable, yet utterly invisible when it mattered most, but no more. I pull out my phone, the screen lighting up with a wealth of information, reminders of meetings, travel itineraries, financial reports all meticulously documented. Each one a thread in a tapestry of deception I now intend to unravel. The thought brings a thrill, a spark of agency igniting within me. I catch my reflection in the glass, determination swirling in my chest. I was the gatekeeper of secrets, the one who knew where the bodies were buried, and now ill-use that knowledge as my weapon. It's time to become the architect of my own narrative, to turn this betrayal into leverage. The city sprawls below me, a labyrinth of opportunity and vengeance. I can almost taste the possibilities, the sweet irony of turning the tables on the man who thought he could erase me. I'm done being the silent observer. It's time to write my own story. The silence in the penthouse is deafening, punctuated only by the soft hum of the city below. I sit on the edge of the pristine sofa, the cushions both too soft and too firm, just like my memories of James. I'm grappling with the weight of betrayal, and it feels like the walls are closing in. Each reflection in the glass around me serves as a reminder of my pasta past I'm desperate to rewrite. Just as the shadows deepen, my phone buzzes, breaking the heavy stillness. I glance at the screen, and there it is, a message from David Chen, the sharp-witted associate at the law firm. I never thought I'd be grateful for a text in this moment, but it feels like a lifeline. Clara, I have my suspicions about James. Let's talk. I can help. A flicker of hope ignites within me. Help. The very word is foreign yet intoxicating. This isn't just about revenge anymore. It's a strategy taking form, and David might be the ally I didn't know I needed. I type back quickly, my fingers dancing over the screen with renewed purpose. Meet me at the cafe on Brook Street. I have something to discuss. The thought of gathering evidence and plotting with someone who understands the stakes sends adrenaline coursing through my veins. I'm not alone in this anymore. The penthouse, once a cold prison, transforms into a command center. I straighten my back, the resolve hardening within me. James may have thought he could toss me aside, but I'm ready to show him that the game has just begun. I stand in my bedroom, the late afternoon light filtering through the sheer curtains, creating a play of shadows across the floor. My closet is a curated collection of tailored suits and silk blouses, the same uniforms that once lent me an air of authority as James's trusted assistant. Today, I sift through them with a different intent. I need to project confidence, but the fleeting image of my reflection reminds me of the vulnerability that lingers beneath the surface. I settle on a crisp navy blazer, its sharp lines a perfect contrast to the chaos swirling inside me. As I button it up, I mentally rehearse my approach for the meeting with David. I can't afford to appear too eager or too fragile. The stakes are high, and I have to balance the weight of my past with the strength I'm cultivating for the future. With each brush of my mascara wand, I remind myself of the mission at hand, the evidence I need to gather, the secrets I must expose. I run my fingers through my hair, pulling it back into a sleek ponytail. This isn't just about revenge, it's about reclaiming the narrative that was stolen from me. As I grab my bag, a familiar thrill courses through my veins. I step into the hallway, the echo of my footsteps solidifying my resolve. Today, I'm not just a dismissed assistant. I'm a strategist stepping into a world where I will no longer be silenced. The luxury penthouse that once felt like a cage now serves as a distant memory, and ahead of me lies the promise of justice, wrapped in the sharp edges of a calculated plan. The day I was fired still clings to me like the scent of expensive cologne lingering in the corners of this penthouse. I sit at my sleek glass desk, the city sprawling beneath me, a polished facade hiding the chaos beneath. I can almost hear the echoes of James's voice, smooth and commanding, as he dismissed me with a wave of his hand, the words cutting deeper than any knife. We need to make some changes, Clara. Changes, the euphemism for betrayal that felt like a slap across my meticulously curated life. Betrayal, it's a bitter taste one I never expected to swallow. For 8 years, I was his right hand, the invisible force making his empire run. I knew every secret he thought he buried beneath layers of deceit, each burner phone, every expense report doctored to hide his infidelities. I was the gatekeeper, and now Now I was just a discarded piece of his jigsaw, tossed aside when the truth threatened to spill. I lean back in my chair, the leather cold against my skin, and a flicker of resolve ignites within me. Knowledge is power, and I have a treasure trove of it. James thinks he can erase me without consequences, but he doesn't understand the game. I was silent for too long, playing the dutiful assistant, but that silence has cost me dearly. It's time to make it pay off. Flipping open my laptop, I pull up the files I've meticulously archived over the years: emails, financial statements, notes from meetings where I was the only witness to his duplicity. This is war now, and I am armed with the most potent weapon, the truth. As I begin to document everything, the weight of my powerlessness transforms into a fierce resolve. I will no longer be a silent observer. I am stepping into the light, ready to reclaim my narrative. In the polished world of Mayfair, where secrets thrive behind frosted glass, I will become the strategist. And James Ashford, he will soon understand that the assistant who knew too much is now a force to be wrecked, sitting on the plush sofa of my penthouse, enveloped by the sterile luxury that has always felt like a cage. The city sprawls beneath me, its glimmering skyline a stark contrast to the storm brewing inside. I retrieve my hidden notebook, its leather cover cool to the touch, a reminder of the secrets I've kept. Today, it transforms from a mere journal into my arsenal. I flip it open, the pages whispering with the echoes of my past. Each blank space is an opportunity waiting to be filled. I begin to document everything. The late-night meetings James had with his dubious associates, the lavish trips disguised as business that were anything but, and the names of the women whose lives he wove into his deceit. The ink flows faster than my thoughts, a cathartic release of my pent-up anger and betrayal. With every word I write, I recall the moments I should have questioned, but didn't. The time he forgot to mention a dinner with Sophie while booking a suite at the Hotel Splendido under an alias. Or the way he turned charmingly evasive when his phone buzzed, always with a name that sent my heart racing, yet I played the dutiful assistant, never daring to confront the truth. This is my ritual now, each stroke of the pen a small act of rebellion against the silence I've lived in for too long. The anger that once simmered beneath the surface morphs into a strategic plan. I'm not just documenting, I'm crafting a narrative that will shatter the polished facade of James Ashford. The clock ticks steadily, a reminder that time is my ally. I am no longer the shadow lurking in the corners of his life. I'm stepping into the light, ready to turn betrayal into leverage. James may think he's rid himself of me, but I know the truth, and soon he will too. Standing on the balcony, I look out over the vibrant chaos of London, the city a sprawling tapestry of ambition and deception. The lights twinkle like stars fallen to earth, each one a reminder of the lives intertwined in this high-net-worth world. Below me, Mayfair bustles with the elite, oblivious to the reckoning brewing just beyond the frosted glass of my penthouse. This is my domain now, not just a luxury cage, but a strategic command center where I will reclaim my narrative. I lean against the cool glass railing, the chill biting against my skin, yet it grounds me. I can almost hear the echoes of James' laughter, the smooth cadence of his voice weaving through the fabric of my memoirs, each one a thread in the tapestry of our shared deception. I was the gatekeeper to his empire, the confidante he trusted to manage both his calendar and his chaos. But that trust, it was a double-edged sword, cutting me deeper than I ever anticipated. Every late-night meeting he had with dubious associates, every luxurious trip masquerading as business, I had documented meticulously. The time he slipped away for a weekend in Portofino while I arranged a faceless conference call, the suite booked at the Hotel Splendido under an Ali-Azmi heart had raced with the thrill of discovery, yet I had silenced my instincts to protect him. Irony drips from the thought I was both his most trusted ally and his unsuspecting victim. Now, armed with the truth, I pull my notebook from its hidden spot, the leather worn but sturdy, and the pages whisper secrets waiting to be unleashed. Each entry is a reminder of my power, a confirmation that I am more than just the woman behind the curtain. I am stepping into the light, ready to turn betrayal into leverage. With every stroke of my pen, I weave a plan, a narrative that will expose James for who he truly is. The city below continues its dance of deception, but I am no longer a silent observer. The time has come to reclaim my power, to turn this betrayal into my weapon. The dining table, once a mere backdrop for takeout dinners and hurried meetings, is now my war room. The glossy surface gleams under the soft glow of my pendant lights, but it feels more like a stage for a grand performance. I pull out my notebook, the leather cover familiar yet charged with purpose. Today it transforms into the blueprint of my revenge, each page a step toward dismantling James Ashford's empire. I lay out the evidence I've gathered: financial discrepancies, clandestine meetings, and the names of his mistresses, each one a thread in the tapestry of deceit. My fingers hover over the pages, my mind racing through the intricate web I'm weaving. How many times had I arranged for him to slip away to the Hotel Splendido while he dined with a woman whose name I never knew? The irony isn't lost on me. I curated his alibis, nurtured his secrets, and now unravel them with the same precision. The risks are monumental, yet the rewards sweet. I imagine the moment when I walk into the private social club where the elite gather to exchange pleasantries behind frosted glass. It's their confront him, weaponizing my knowledge. I can almost hear the gasps of disbelief as I lay bare the truths he thought were buried under layers of charm and manipulation. Every detail matters. The route take, the timing of my arrival, the witnesses summon. I envision Sophie, her poised elegance cracking under the weight of revelation. She may be emotionally volatile, but in this game, the strategist. Loyalty has turned into leverage, and I am ready to turn the tables. As I pen my plan, a thrill courses through me. This isn't just revenge, it's reclaiming my narrative, my power. No longer the silent observer in James' world. The architect of his downfall, and the city below hums with the promise of change. The reception area of the London boutique law firm is a testament to modern luxurious marble floors gleam under the soft, diffused light filtering through the large windows. Minimalist decor surrounds me, a stark contrast to the chaotic whirlwind of my thoughts. I can't help but wonder how many secrets have been discussed in hushed tones within these elegant walls, and now I'm about to add my own. As I step forward, I feel the weight of my mission pressing down on me, a palpable tension coiling in my stomach. I take a deep breath, steadying myself. This is where I transform from the discarded assistant into a strategist armed with insider knowledge. James Ashford thinks he's buried those secrets deep, but I know exactly where to dig. I mentally map out the strategy I've been crafting since my abrupt dismissal. Financial discrepancies, burner phones, and falsified expenses swirl in my mind like a well-rehearsed script. Each detail is a piece of the puzzle, and I'm ready to assemble them into a damning narrative against him. This isn't just about revenge, it's about reclaiming what was taken from Memi power, my autonomy. I can almost hear the echoes of James' dismissive tone in my head, the way he wielded authority like a weapon. But now, I'm wielding my own. I glance around the sleek reception area, my heart racing. This is just the beginning. The quiet conference room with its frosted glass windows feels like a sanctuary amidst the bustling chaos of the law firm. Outside, the city skyline stretches like a jagged puzzle against the pale blue sky, but inside, the atmosphere is thick with anticipation. I can almost taste the potential, a mix of adrenaline and resolve. David Chen leans back in his chair, his sharp eyes assessing me as I take a seat across from him. The way he studies me reminds me that I'm not just an ex-assistant anymore. I'm a player in a game I intend to win. Clara, it's been a while. What brings you here? His voice is calm, but there's an underlying curiosity, a hint that he's already piecing together the implications of my presence. I let a smile flicker across my lips, allowing a moment of tension to hang in the air. I need your expertise, David. There are discrepancies in the finances I think Yao'd find intriguing. He raises an eyebrow, clearly intrigued but cautious. Discrepancies? You mean the kind that can get people into serious trouble? I nod subtly, feeling the weight of each word. Exactly. I need someone who knows the ins and outs of this world, Somion, who understands the stakes. David leans forward, his interest piqued. You're playing a dangerous game, Clara. Only if I lose, I reply, allowing a flicker of determination to seep into my voice. The stakes are high, but I'm ready to play. The archives of the London boutique law firm are a world unto themselves, dimly lit, musty, and lined with shelves that groan under the weight of forgotten files. Each document carries a whisper of intrigue, secrets begging to be uncovered. I can't help but smile at the irony. This is where I'm meant to be, sifting through the remnants of betrayal, armed with nothing but my determination. As I pull a stack of financial records from the shelf, the quiet hum of the fluorescent lights overhead feels oddly empowering. The scent of aged paper clings to the air, reminding me of the passage of time, of unresolved conflicts waiting to be addressed. I flick through the pages, my fingers dancing over figures and annotations, and a thrill surges within me. Each discrepancy I uncover is a piece of the puzzle, a falsified expense here, a suspicious transaction there. It's exhilarating, like finding gold nuggets in a riverbed. The more I dig, the more I realize the extent of James's manipulations. My heart races with a mix of fear and exhilaration. I'm not just a pawn anymore. I'm the one holding the pieces, ready to play my hand. With each document that reveals his deceit, I feel the chains of my past loyalty begin to shatter. This isn't just research, it's a reclamation of my power, a declaration of war against the man who thought he could discard me without consequence. I pause, allowing the gravity of my mission to settle in. The stakes are impossibly high, but with every discovery, I know I'm one step closer to turning the tables. The cafe near the law firm buzzes with life-cluttering cups, muffled conversations, and the rich aroma of freshly brewed coffee swirling through the air. It feels like a world away from the sterile confines of the archives, a place where secrets can mingle freely among the chatter. I slide into a corner table, my heart racing as I wait for David. This is where my plan solidifies, where my past begins to feel like just that past. David arrives, his expression a blend of intrigue and seriousness. He orders a black coffee, his usual, and takes the seat across from me, leaning in as if to shield our conversation from the surrounding noise. "So what have you got?" he asks, his voice steady but laced with an eagerness that makes my pulse quicken. I pull out a folder, its contents neatly organized. Falsified expenses, missing transactions. James has been playing a dangerous game. I slide the documents across the table, watching as his brow furrows in concentration. He flips through the pages, his eyes widening at the extent of the deception. "This is extensive. You're sure about these?" "Absolutely." Each word feels like a declaration. "We can use this leverage, David." It's time for James to pay for what he's done. His gaze meets mine, a spark of understanding igniting between us. Then we need a plan that puts him on the defensive. I nod, feeling the weight of our conspiracy settle comfortably around us. Let's make him regret underestimating me. The thrill of the hunt courses through my veins. This is just the beginning. As I step out of the cafe, the bustling street of central London greets me like an old friend. The air is crisp, charged with the scent of fresh pastries and the faint hum of city life. I can feel the energy pulsating around metarists snapping photos, professionals rushing by, all blissfully unaware of the storm brewing beneath the surface of my meticulously crafted plan. The thrill of discovery still lingers from my conversation with David, and I can't help but smile. Each step away from the calf feels lighter, unburdened by the weight of my past. I was once just an assistant, a mere cog in James' well-oiled machine. Now, I'm a strategist, a woman on a mission, and the stakes have never been higher. The sun glints off the glass facades of the office buildings, each one a fortress of secrets. I pass by the HNWI Mayfair office, its polished exterior reflecting a world of power and discretion. Inside, James might still be playing his games, manipulating, charming, weaving lies. But I'm no longer a spectator to his machinations. I'm the one pulling the strings now, ready to expose the truth he so desperately tries to hide. With every step, I visualize the pieces of my plan falling into place. I'm not just reclaiming my power, I'm setting the stage for a reckoning. James thinks he can erase me. He hasn't seen anything yet. The thrill of revenge is intoxicating, and I know I want rest until he feels the full weight of his betrayals. The moment I step into the London boutique law firm, I'm engulfed by an atmosphere that feels both foreign and tantalizingly familiar. The reception area is a study in understated, luxuriously marble floors glimmer under the soft glow of designer lighting, while the air is tinged with the faint scent of expensive cologne and polished wood. It's a world of power and discretion, where whispers bounce off frosted glass and secrets are the currency of choice. My heart races, a wild mix of trepidation and determination coursing through me. I should feel out of place, a former PA turned Avenger, but the thought of James' betrayal adds a fierce edge to my resolve. I can almost hear the echoes of his laughter, the way it twisted into something sinister after I was unceremoniously fired. What did he think, that I'd simply fade away, a ghost in the shadows of his empire? No, I'm done being invisible. As I wait for David Chen to greet me, my mind races through the details of my plan. I've spent enough time in the trenches of James' life to know where the skeletons are buried, every falsified expense, every illicit rendezvous tucked away in the corners of his carefully curated universe. David arrives, his presence sharp and confident, with a slight smirk that suggests he already knows more than he lets on. "You look like you've just walked into a lion's den," he quips, his dark eyes sparkling with mischief. "More like him ready to set the lions on fire," I reply, a hint of steel in my voice. He raises an eyebrow, intrigued. "Now that's the spirit. Let's make some noise." The thrill of plotting revenge alongside someone who understands the stakes is intoxicating. For the first time since my dismissal, I feel a flicker of hope igniting within me, hope that whispers that justice might just be within reach. The conference room is a glass box, a monument to transparency, yet paradoxically suffocating. Every wall reflects the polished surfaces of the law firm, showcasing the meticulous order that lies at the heart of this world. I take a seat at the sleek, ebony table, my fingers tracing the cool surface as I try to steady my racing thoughts. This isn't just a conversation, it's the first step into a labyrinth of strategy and cunning. David settles across from me, his presence strikingly confident. He leans back, arms crossed, his dark eyes assessing me like a chess player eyeing the board. "So, Clara, tell me about this plan of yours," he says, a hint of curiosity threading through his tone. I swallow hard, realizing the weight of his interest. My stomach churns with a mix of anxiety and excitement. This is it. I'm about to lay bare the depths of my betrayal. I know everything about James, his financial discrepancies, his secret meeting Saul, the skeletons he thinks are buried deep. David raises an eyebrow, intrigued. "Go on." I take a deep breath, focusing on the flicker of determination igniting within me. He's not just a charismatic executive, he's a master manipulator, and I was his unwitting accomplice. But he underestimated me. I've documented everything from burner phones to falsified expenses. I'm ready to turn that knowledge into leverage. His lips curve into a smirk, revealing a hint of admiration. Impressive. You're not just a former PA, you're a strategist. The compliment lands heavy, but it's laced with a thrill that shoots through me. For so long I existed in the shadows, but now I'm stepping into the light ready to shine a spotlight on Jameis' deceit. What do you need from me? David asks, leaning forward, the atmosphere charged with unspoken possibilities. I meet his gaze, a fierce resolve solidifying within me. I need your expertise, your connections. This isn't just about revenge, it's about justice. As I sit across from David in the glass-walled conference room, the edges of my anxiety soften into a sharp clarity. The whiteboard looms behind him, scrawled with notes that feel like the blueprint of my revenge. I can't help but smile at the absurdity of it, a former assistant armed with secrets, plotting against a man who once wielded power over me like a puppet master. James is a maestro of manipulation, I begin, my voice steadying. He's got a network of accounts, Shell Campanis money disappearing into the ether, and I have the receipts figuratively and literally. David leans forward, his interest piqued. Receipts? You mean actual financial documents? I nod, feeling a rush of adrenaline. I kept everything meticulously organized. I knew I had to, even when I was merely his shadow. Those documents are the key to unraveling his entire fraud. The flicker of excitement in David's eyes ignites something within me. This isn't just strategy, it's a chance to reclaim my narrative. We could expose him for what he is, a fraud hiding behind a mask of charm, I say, my words gaining a rhythm that matches the pounding in my chest. Let's outline a plan, he suggests, grabbing a marker and stepping toward the whiteboard. His energy is infectious as he jots down bullet points, each one a step toward our shared goal. First, we need to ensure the evidence is airtight. We can't just throw accusations. It has to be backed by indisputable facts. I lean in, my heart racing at the thought of turning the tables. What if we create a timeline of his deceit, every affair, every falsified expense laid out for the world to see? David pauses, nodding slowly. Brilliant. It'll be a visual representation of his downfall. And then he meets my gaze, his voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper. We can use his own arrogance against him. Hell never see us coming. The thrill of plotting against James sends shivers down my spine. Clara's world shatters, the day loyalty turns to betrayal. The polished surface of the Mayfair office reflects not just the gleam of luxury, but the intricate web of chaos I manage daily. The clatter of high heels and murmurs of whispered deals blend into a symphony of power and pretense. I stand at my desk, alight with screens displaying James Ashford's Life Highs calendar, his demands, his secrets. I'm the gatekeeper to an empire built on charm and deceit, yet today, even the hum of the air conditioning feels charged with an unspoken tension. Clara, he barks, his voice slicing through the ambient noise like a knife. His brow is furrowed, eyes darting between the documents sprawled across his mahogany desk. Where's the presentation for the board meeting? Right here, sir. I offer it with a practiced smile, even as my stomach twists. The tightness in his jaw suggests something beyond mere impatience. The affair with Sophie must be weighing on him again, a shadow lurking behind his polished facade. I can't help but wonder how long this charade can last. As I organize his calendar, I note the critical meetings highlighted in Redan investment pitch, a dinner with potential clients at the Imperial Palace, and finally, a private dinner with Sophie. Each entry is a thread in the tapestry of his life that I weave together with meticulous care. Yet today, those threads feel frayed, ready to unravel. Can we push the dinner back? I need more time on the figures, he snaps, his impatience bubbling over. The sharpness in his tone sends a ripple of unease through me. I've learned to dance around his moods, but there's a heaviness here, an energy that crackles like a storm about to break. Of course, I reply, masking my concern, but inside I feel the scales tipping. Loyalty has always been my currency, but as I look at him, I realize it's a currency he's willing to devalue at a moment's notice. The realization stinks of betrayal looming just beyond the horizon. The conference room hums with a sterile elegance, frosted glass walls reflecting the polished veneer of affluence that cloaks every interaction. I sit across from James, my pen poised over the notepad, a silent witness to this high-stakes performance. The client, a sharp-suited man with a veneer of confidence that rivals James Onlyin's forward, eyes glinting with greed. I can almost taste the tension in the air, thick as the scent of expensive cologne. Of course, we can accommodate your needs, James says, his voice smooth, practiced. The charm flows like a river, but beneath the surface, I feel the undercurrents of manipulation. I watch as he leans back, a calculated gesture that speaks volumes. He's playing a game where the stakes are high and integrity is a mere pawn. I scribble notes, my hand moving almost mechanically, but my mind races. Each word he says feels like a thread tying me closer to his deceit. I'm complicit in this charade, and the realization gnaws at me. How often have I sat here supporting his lies, masking the truth behind a facade of professionalism? The thought is suffocating. Trust, after all, is paramount, he continues, locking eyes with the client. There's an intensity in his gaze that I've seen before, a predatory glint that sends a shiver down my spine. He's not just selling a deal, he's peddling an illusion, and I am the unseen hand making it all possible. With every word, my loyalty phrased like an old scene. I glance at the window where the skyline of Mayfair looms, a landscape of power and pretense, where secrets lie behind five-star facades. The weight of my role presses down. Am I merely a cog in this ruthless machine? As the meeting draws to a close, I feel the walls closing in. James' smile is dazzling but hollow, a mask he wears to hide the depths of his ambition. I know all too well that this isn't just business. If the conference room door clicks shut and the air shifts from crisp professionalism to a weighty silence. I'm still reeling from the meeting, the image of James' charming smile etched in my mind, an illusion that feels increasingly fragile. Just as I begin to gather my thoughts, my phone buzzes violently on the desk, its screen lighting up with an unexpected name, Sophie Ashford. I hesitate, the weight of the call heavy in the air. James' wife, the elegant woman who glides through the Mayfair elite with a grace that belies the chaos beneath her polished exterior. She's always been a distant figure in my life, a shadow lurking at the edge of our world. Now her voice crackles through the line, taut with tension. Clara, she breathes, and I can almost picture her silver blonde hair cascading over her shoulders, perfectly tailored dress clinging to her form in a way that screams both luxury and desperation. I need to ask you something. It's about James, my heart races. The last thing I want is to be ensnared in this web of suspicion, but the empathy I feel for Sophie is undeniable. Of course, Sophie, what's on your mind? I can't shake the feeling that something's off. He's been distant more than usual. And I found a receipt for dinner at the Imperial Palace just last week under a name that isn't yours. Her voice trembles, a fragile veneer cracking beneath the weight of her words. I swallow hard, guilt coiling in my stomach. I'm sure there's a reasonable explanation, I reply, my instinct to protect James rising instinctively. But beneath that, a flicker of doubt ignites. When I look out over the Mayfair skyline at sharp angles of glass and steel, reflecting the sun, I realize that this facade, this world of opulence and secrets, is beginning to fracture. In this moment, I'm caught between loyalty and empathy, a tug-of-war that leaves me feeling more like a pawn than a player. I just want to the afternoon sun spills through the floor-to-ceiling windows of the executive suite, casting long shadows across the polished mahogany desk. I sit there, pen poised, the lingering scent of expensive cologne mingling with the faintest hint of tension. James leans back, his gaze steady, but there's something unsettling lurking beneath his practiced smile. Clara, he begins, his voice smooth but devoid of warmth, we need to discuss your recent performance. My heart skips a beat. It feels like an executioner's preamble. I brace myself, fighting the instinct to flinch. The polished surface of the Mayfair office reflects not just the gleam of luxury, but the intricate web of chaos I manage daily. The clatter of high heels and murmurs of whispered deals blend into a symphony of power and pretense. I stand at my desk, alight with screens displaying James Ashford's life-highs calendar, his demands, his secrets. I'm the gatekeeper to an empire built on charm and deceit, yet today, even the hum of the air conditioning feels charged with an unspoken tension. Clara, he barks, his voice slicing through the ambient noise like a knife. His brow is furrowed, eyes darting between the documents sprawled across his mahogany desk. Where's the presentation for the board meeting? Right here, sir. I offer it with a practiced smile, even as my stomach twists. The tightness in his jaw suggests something beyond mere impatience. The affair with Sophie must be weighing on him again, a shadow lurking behind his polished facade. I can't help but wonder how long this charade can last. As I organize his calendar, I note the critical meetings highlighted in Redan investment pitch, a dinner with potential clients at the Imperial Palace, and finally, a private dinner with Sophie. Each entry is a thread in the tapestry of his life that I weave together with meticulous care. Yet today, those threads feel frayed, ready to unravel. Can we push the dinner back? I need more time on the figures, he snaps, his impatience bubbling over. The sharpness in his tone sends a ripple of unease through me. I've learned to dance around his moods, but there's a heaviness here, an energy that crackles like a storm about to break. Of course, I reply, masking my concern, but inside I feel the scales tipping. Loyalty has always been my currency, but as I look at him, I realize it's a currency he's willing to devalue at a moment's notice. The realization stinks of betrayal looming just beyond the horizon. The conference room hums with a sterile elegance, frosted glass walls reflecting the polished veneer of affluence that cloaks every interaction. I sit across from James, my pen poised over the notepad, a silent witness to this high-stakes performance. The client, a sharp-suited man with a veneer of confidence that rivals James Onlyon's forward, eyes glinting with greed. I can almost taste the tension in the air, thick as the scent of expensive cologne. Of course, we can accommodate your needs, James says, his voice smooth, practiced. The charm flows like a river, but beneath the surface, I feel the undercurrents of manipulation. I watch as he leans back, a calculated gesture that speaks volumes. He's playing a game where the stakes are high and integrity is a mere pawn. I scribble notes, my hand moving almost mechanically, but my mind races. Each word he says feels like a thread tying me closer to his deceit. I'm complicit in this charade, and the realization gnaws at me. How often have I sat here supporting his lies, masking the truth behind a facade of professionalism? The thought is suffocating. Trust, after all, is paramount, he continues, locking eyes with the client. There's an intensity in his gaze that I've seen before, a predatory glint that sends a shiver down my spine. He's not just selling a deal, he's peddling an illusion, and I am the unseen hand making it all possible. With every word, my loyalty frays like an old scene. I glance at the window where the skyline of Mayfair looms a landscape of power and pretense, where secrets lie behind five-star facades. The weight of my role presses down. Am I merely a cog in this ruthless machine? As the meeting draws to a close, I feel the walls closing in. James' smile is dazzling but hollow, a mask he wears to hide the depths of his ambition. I know all too well that this isn't just business. The conference room door clicks shut, and the air shifts from crisp professionalism to a weighty silence. Still reeling from the meeting, the image of James' charming smile etched in my mind an illusion that feels increasingly fragile. Just as I begin to gather my thoughts, my phone buzzes violently on the desk, its screen lighting up with an unexpected name, Sophie Ashford. I hesitate, the weight of the call heavy in the air. James' wife, the elegant woman who glides through the Mayfair elite with a grace that belies the chaos beneath her polished exterior. She's always been a distant figure in my life, a shadow lurking at the edge of our world. Now her voice crackles through the line, taut with tension. Clara, she breathes, and I can almost picture her silver blonde hair cascading over her shoulders, perfectly tailored dress clinging to her form in a way that screams both luxury and desperation. I need to ask you something. It's about James. My heart races. The last thing I want is to be ensnared in this web of suspicion, but the empathy I feel for Sophie is undeniable. Of course, Sophie, what's on your mind? I can't shake the feeling that something's off. He's been distant more than usual. And I found a receipt for dinner at the Imperial Palace just last week under a name that isn't yours. Her voice trembles, a fragile veneer cracking beneath the weight of her words. I swallow hard, guilt coiling in my stomach. I'm sure there's a reasonable explanation, I reply, my instinct to protect James rising instinctively. But beneath that, a flicker of doubt ignites. When I look out over the Mayfair skyline at sharp angles of glass and steel, reflecting the sun, I realize that this fog, this world of opulence and secrets, is beginning to fracture. In this moment, I'm caught between loyalty and empathy, a tug-of-war that leaves me feeling more like a pawn than a player. I just want to the afternoon sun spills through the floor-to-ceiling windows of the executive suite, casting long shadows across the polished mahogany desk. I sit there, pen poised, the lingering scent of expensive cologne mingling with the faintest hint of tension. James leans back, his gaze steady, but there's something unsettling lurking beneath his practiced smile. Clara, he begins, his voice smooth but devoid of warmth, we need to discuss your recent performance. My heart skips a beat. It feels like an executioner's preamble. I brace myself, fighting the instinct to flinch. As I step out of the conference room, the crisp air of the hallway wraps around me like a refreshing embrace, washing away the remnants of my previous life. The polished marble floors reflect the shimmering overhead lights, glistening like the facade of a glittering jewel. For the first time in weeks, I allow myself to breathe deeply, inhaling the scent of ambition and freshly brewed coffee wafting from the nearby break room. My mind races, each thought a bead on a thread of renewed purpose. David's enthusiasm is infectious, his sharp intellect igniting a fire within me that had long been extinguished by betrayal. I can almost feel the weight of the evidence I hold, each document a step closer to exposing James for the fraud he is. The adrenaline pulses through my veins as I replay our conversation. We're no longer mere players in a game I'm strategizing, and it feels exhilarating. But with that exhilaration comes a twinge of unease. David's eyes sparkled with intrigue, but can I truly trust him? In this world of polished facades, loyalty is a commodity, easily traded and often discarded. Yet the glimmer of excitement in his demeanor tells me he's not just another cog in the wheel, he's an ally, perhaps even a friend in this dark labyrinth. I glance back at the conference room, where he remains, immersed in thoughts of our burgeoning alliance. The weight of the risk hangs heavy in the air, but I feel lighter somehow. I've stepped off the precipice of despair into a realm of possibility. As I stride down the hallway, the sounds of laughter and hushed conversations from the offices around me fade into a distant hum. This isn't just about revenge anymore, it's about justice, about reclaiming my voice in a world that tried to silence me. I'm ready to unleash the storm I've kept bottled up for too long. The thought feeds my resolve as I step into the bustling embrace of the law firm's atrium, where ambition intertwines with the scent of freshly ground coffee. I walk with purpose, the shadows of my past receding behind me. The executive conference room is a pristine trap, its glass walls a facade of transparency masking the darkness within. Outside, London gleams, a city of light and power, but inside, the air thickens with unspoken accusations. I stand just beyond the threshold, a silent witness, my heart beating in time with the tension crackling between James and Sophie. Why do you think him a fool, James? Sophie's voice cuts through the air, sharp and laced with hurt. Her elegant silhouette, draped in tailored silk, trembles with barely restrained fury. I saw the receipts, the hotel suite in Portofino, the dinner for two at Imperial Palace. You think I wouldn't notice? James leans against the polished conference table, his posture a mask of arrogance. It's business, Sophie, nothing more. You know how these things work, but the words fall flat, the charm he wields so easily failing him now. I can see the cracks in his armor, the way his arrogance falters as Sophie's words strike true. Business, you expect me to believe that? I'm not blind. Sophie's voice rises, echoing off the frosted glass like a warning bell. I feel a surge of satisfaction. This is the moment I've been waiting for, the unraveling of his carefully constructed lies. Beneath my calm exterior, a tempest brews. I've watched James manipulate everyone around him, and now, witnessing Sophie confront him is like watching a master painter tear down his own canvas, revealing all the layers of deceit. You can't just erase me, Clara, he had said once, but here I am, the unseen architect of this moment. Why can't you just be honest for once? She implores, her voice wavering as she steps closer, anger mingling with desperation. You've put me through hell, and for what? Your ego. I lean against the door frame, every word a thread in the intricate web I'm weaving. James may have cast me aside, but now, I'm the puppeteer in this tangled drama, hidden in the shadows of the HNWI polished Mayfair office, the world outside a blur of high-stakes power and whispered secrets. Inside, the air crackles with palpable tension, making every heartbeat feel like a countdown to chaos. The sleek lines of the conference room, with its frosted glass panels, offer a false sense of transparency. Here, no one is truly seen, and every gesture is calculated. Sophie's voice rises, sharp as a fine crystal, slicing through the silence. You think him a fool, James. Her elegance, typically poised, now quivers with barely contained rage. I can almost see the tears threatening to spill from her eyes, reflecting the betrayal that has unfolded like a dark cloud over their lives. The receipts, James, the hotel suite in Portofino, dinner for two at the Imperial Palace. You think I wouldn't notice? His defense, a litany of corporate jargon, falls flat against the weight of her accusation. It's business, Sophie. You know how these things work. The arrogance is there, but it's a fragile mask, cracking under the pressure of her scrutiny. I take mental notes, each word a crumb leading me to the feast of information I can use. His discomfort is my leverage, and the thrill of it courses through me. Business, she scoffs, stepping closer, her tailored silk dress shimmering with the intensity of her anger. You've put me through hell for your own ego. I can almost taste the bitterness of her desperation, and I relish it. Every defensive twitch of James' jaw, every flicker of guilt in his eyes, adds another layer to my strategy. I'm no longer just a passive observer, I'm the archivist of their downfall. I can't help but smile slightly to myself. This is the moment where I begin to weave my own narrative into their tangled drama, transforming my silence into a weapon. As I jot down details and my notebook is faltering excuses, her emotional upheaval, I feel the power shift beneath me. Soon, the architect. The reception area feels like a stage set for a tragedy, the polished marble floors gleaming under the harsh fluorescent lights, while outside, the chaos of Mayfair pulses with life. Through the frosted glass, I can see the silhouettes of high-profile clients passing by, oblivious to the drama unfolding within. I sit behind my sleek desk, an operational command center amid the tension, my heart racing as I replay the confrontation between James and Sophie in my mind. James strides back into the reception, his confidence shaken, but he quickly attempts to reclaim his composure. "This is just a misunderstanding, Clara. You know how emotions can skew the truth." His voice carries that familiar charm, but there's a tremor beneath the surface, a crack in the facade. It's fascinating to witness like a magician whose trick has been exposed. "You're losing control, I think," the satisfaction bubbling just beneath my calm exterior. He may believe he can smooth over Sophie's fears with empty reassurances, but the way he clenches his jaw tells a different story. Each moment of vulnerability is a thread I can tug on, unraveling the tapestry of his carefully constructed life. Then Sophie appears at the periphery of my vision, her expression a mix of fragility and resolve. "Clara," she says, her voice barely above a whisper. I can see her trembling hands, the way she clutches her designer handbag like a lifeline. I need to talk." "Of course," I reply, my tone even betraying none of the excitement coursing through me. She approaches, her heels clicking on the marble like a countdown to something explosive. "I don't know what to believe anymore," she confesses, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. "Is he really cheating? I thought we had something special." There's a vulnerability in her voice that tugs at something deep within me, a reminder of loyalty lost. "People are not always what they seem," I reply, my words measured, precise. Sometimes the facade hides a darker truth. Even as I speak, I sit in the luxury penthouse, my workspace a cacophony of notes and documents, each one a testament to the empire I once served. The walls are painted in muted tones, a sterile backdrop for the drama unfolding just a few floors below. The sleek lines of my desk, meticulously arranged, mirror the precision of my thoughts. I can feel the weight of the plan taking shape, the contours of revenge sharpening with every detail I piece together. Sophie's emotional turmoil presents an opportunity, a crack in the armor that I can exploit. There's power in her vulnerability, and I can almost taste the sweet, sharp tang of leverage. The thought of her joining forces with me ignites a spark of excitement. It's not just about James anymore. It's about turning the tables, about rewriting the narrative that has kept me in the shadows for far too long. I pull out the notes I've compiled, receipts from the Imperial Palace, the suite in Portofino, and whispers of local trattorias where James has dined with his mistresses. Each item is a thread in the tapestry of deceit, and I'm the one holding the needle. What if I could turn Sophie's anger into an alliance? The thought dances through my mind, seductive and dangerous. She deserves to know the truth, to see the man she loves unravel, but I also know the fragility of her heart. Can I convince her that unmasking James will empower her? I lean back in my chair, a slight smile creeping across my lips. I've spent years observing the intricacies of their relationship, and now I can become the architect of their downfall. The thrill of it pulses through me, a reminder that I am no longer the silent observer. I am the strategist, ready to wield my knowledge like a weapon. The frosted glass panels of the penthouse seem to shimmer with my resolve, reflecting a future where I reclaim my power, not just for revenge, but for a new beginning. The skyline unfurls outside my penthouse windows, a concrete jungle of ambition and deception. I sit at my sleek, minimalistic desk, the cool glass beneath my fingers a stark reminder of the power I've been stripped of and the one I am about to reclaim. My notes, meticulously organized, lie before me, each page a testament to 8 years of loyalty turned liability. I trace the lines of my carefully crafted plan, the words echoing in my mind like a symphony of retribution. James thinks he knows me, quiet observer, a loyal assistant, Little does he realize that the very silence he exploited is now my weapon. Armed with secrets he buried beneath layers of deceit, and I've learned to wield them with precision. I mentally rehearse our dialogue, each line calculated to elicit a reaction, to draw him into my web. Did you really think you could discard me without consequences? I envision his face, the arrogance melting away as I expose him layer by layer. It's thrilling, this anticipation, yet a storm brews in my chest, a mixture of anger and betrayal that I must keep at bay. As I look out over London, its heartbeat pulsing below, I remind myself, this is not just about revenge, it's about reclaiming my identity. I won't be the forgotten assistant any longer. I am the strategist now, and the game is about to change. The kitchen in my penthouse is a clean, sleek space with polished surfaces that reflect the sharp edges of my thoughts. I pour myself a cup of coffee, the rich aroma grounding me as I prepare for the revelation David has promised. It's a moment of anticipation that thrums in the air, electrifying and potent like the first sip of a well-aged whiskey. David's message buzzes on my phone, the screen lighting up with words that could shift the power dynamics in my favor. Meet me at the office. Urgent intel on Ashford's recent dealings. The urgency is palpable, a siren call that pulls me into action. I've taken my time plotting, but now the pieces are aligning and the thrill of the hunt washes over me. James' financial discrepancies, those whispered secrets I've long suspected could be the leverage I need. My heart races at the thought of exploiting this weakness. It's not just about revenge, it's about restoring my worth, about showing him that I am no longer the silent observer. I can already picture the moment when I confront James, the cool detachment on my face as I lay bare his vulnerabilities. Did you really think you could outsmart me? I practice the line, my voice steady, unwavering. As I finish my coffee, I feel invincible. The game is about to change, and I'm ready to play. The living area of my penthouse is a stark juxtaposition to the clinical precision of my workspace. Here, the decor is a curated collection of memoirist-framed photographs of happier times, a plush sofa that cradled my dreams before they shattered. I sit on the edge of that sofa, my fingers grazing the fabric, recollections flooding in like waves crashing against the shore. What was I thinking, investing my life in a man who couldn't see beyond his own reflection? For 8 years I was a loyal phantom in James' world, a shadow that made his brilliance shine even brighter. And now I'm a woman on the brink of reclaiming her story. My heart is heavy with the weight of betrayal, but I refuse to let it anchor me. As I prepare for the confrontation, I can almost hear the echo of my past self whispering doubts. Did you really think this was the way to find your worth? But I'm done listening. I channel my pain into purpose, transforming it into a weapon. The emotional fallout will be my catalyst, propelling me towards the clarity I crave. I rise, the sunlight filtering through the glass, igniting the room with a fierce glow. I am no longer a mere assistant, I am the architect of my revenge. The game is changing, and I'm ready to seize my power. The final showdown with James looms closer, and with every heartbeat, I feel the thrill of justice coursing through my veins. The quiet of my bedroom amplifies the tension coiling in my gut. I stand before the mirror, the soft light casting a glow over my carefully curated assembly and elegant navy dress that hugs my silhouette just right, paired with heels that elevate not just my height but my resolve. Each piece is deliberate, a statement that I am not the woman James discarded. I am the storm he never saw coming. I adjust my hair, the glossy strands framing my face in a way that feels both familiar and foreign. I am transforming into a version of myself he never acknowledged, someone who can wield power and poise in equal measure. My reflection smiles back a woman who knows her worth, even when he didn't. As I slip into my shoes, the click against the floor sends a thrill through me. He won't see you coming, I whisper to my reflection, channeling the confidence I've cultivated through long nights of planning. The air in the room is charged with anticipation, a prelude to the confrontation that awaits. James will underestimate Meh always has. It's his greatest flaw, one I intend to exploit fully. I picture his smirk as I lay bare the evidence I've gathered, his arrogance blinding him to the trap I've set. Today, the assistant becomes the strategist, and the game changes irrevocably. With one last glance, I step out of the bedroom and into the world, ready to reclaim everything he thought he could take from me. The air inside the private social club is thick with unspoken tension, a palpable hush that hangs over the exquisitely appointed lounge. Rich mahogany panels gleam under the soft, ambient lighting, creating pockets of intimacy that feel both inviting and suffocating. Plush armchairs cradle patrons in comfort, but I feel anything but at ease. My heart races, a drum echoing the stakes of this impending confrontation. I scan the room, every detail etched into my mind's eye, a soft murmur of laughter from a corner table, the clink of crystal glasses, and the faint scent of aged whiskey wafting through the air. Here, power and privilege intertwine, and stepping into their arena, a mere assistant turned strategist. The exclusivity of the club feels like a gilded cage, but I remind myself that I'm not here to hide, I'm here to expose. Focus, I murmur under my breath, grounding myself in the moment. This isn't just a meeting, it's the culmination of years spent in the shadows, watching, waiting for the right time to strike. The door swings open, and I feel the rush of cool air as it reveals a figure stepping inside James Ashford. His presence commands attention, but today I'm not just another shadow. I'm the architect of my own story, ready to tear down the empire he built on deceit. Taking a deep breath, I adjust my posture, steadying my resolve. This is it. The game changes now, and I'm ready to play. The moment I step into the private social club, the air changes. It's heavy with the scent of polished mahogany and the faintest hint of expensive scotch. I pause at the entrance, heart racing, as I take in the lavish foyer, a grand space adorned with marble floors that glisten under the crystal chandeliers, each one a testament to wealth and discretion. This is a world where secrets are currency, and tonight I hold the most valuable coin of all. I can't help but think back to the countless times I walked these halls alongside James, my heels echoing against the floor like a metronome to our carefully orchestrated lives. I once thrived in this opulence, a silent architect of his success. Now I'm an unwelcome ghost, ready to haunt him with the truths he buried beneath layers of lies and deceit. With each step deeper into the club, I recall the betrayal that shattered my trust. He discarded me so easily when his wife's suspicions turned into accusations. I was the loyal servant and he the master, but those roles have flipped. I clutch my handbag tighter, aware that every secret I've unearthed is a weapon poised to strike. Taking a deep breath, I gather my resolve. Tonight, I'm not just a spectator to their drama, I'm the one writing the final act. With a determined stride, I move toward the heart of the club, ready to confront the very man who thought he could erase me. The private dining area is cloaked in shadows, its dark wood paneling absorbing the light from the flickering candles on the table. The plush seating, designed for whispered secrets and hushed confessions, feels claustrophobic as I spot them, James and Sophie, seated at a table meant for intimacy, now strained by an unspoken tension. Their body language is a chaotic dance of discomfort. James leans back, arms crossed, while Sophie sits forward, eyes darting around the room as if searching for an escape. I can almost feel the weight of their unacknowledged truths pressing against me. It's intoxicating, this moment of clarity, years of loyalty and silence now distilled into this singular confrontation. James, the master manipulator, now looks so small, so vulnerable. I smirk at the irony. The architect of my despair is now facing the architect of his downfall. As I approach, my heart thrums in my chest, each beat a reminder of the power I wield. I clear my throat, the sound slicing through the murmur of conversations around us. Their heads snap in my direction, surprise morphing into dread. Mind if I join? I ask, my voice even almost too calm for the tempest swirling inside me. The air crackles with electricity, and I relish the moment. This is my stage now, and am ready to lay bare the secrets that have kept me in the shadows for far too long. I lean against the polished edge of the table, feeling the coolness of the mahogany beneath my fingertips. The flickering candlelight casts a dramatic glow across James' face, illuminating the chiseled features that once made him seem invincible. Now he looks like a cornered animal, his bravado faltering as my presence looms over him. You thought you could just erase me, didn't you? I begin, my voice steady, cutting through the murmur of the dining room. All those years of my loyalty, my silent seat meant nothing to you the moment your wife started asking questions. Safi's eyes dart between us, a storm of emotions brewing beneath her composed exterior. One moment, she's defiant, ready to defend her husband. The next, the weight of my words sinks in. I relish the shift, the way the truth slithers into the gaps of their facade. Let's talk about your little secrets, shall we? I continue, leaning closer, the scent of expensive cologne mingling with the candle wax. The burner phones, the expense reports, the lavish trips booked under false names. I've documented everything. James shifts uncomfortably, his arrogance crumbling like the brittle fod he's built. You wouldn't dare, he finally retorts, but I can hear the tremor in his voice. Oh, James, I reply, a smirk playing on my lips. I've already dared, and now, I'm just getting started. Safi's breath hitches, her anger wavering as the reality of our power struggle settles in. This is it, the moment when my silence transforms. The tension in the air is palpable, a thick fog of unspoken accusations swirling around us. I lean in closer, my voice lowering to a conspiratorial whisper, but the intensity is electric. What you don't realize, James, is that I've meticulously documented every detail of your shady dealings. The burner phones you thought were so clever, I have the numbers saved. The expense reports you falsified, all in my files. You built your empire on lies, but it's about to come crashing down. James' face pales, the bravado fading as the weight of my words sinks in. He shifts uncomfortably in his seat, the polished mahogany table now a barrier he can't retreat behind. You wouldn't expose me, you have too much to lose, he snaps, but the tremor in his voice betrays him. Oh, darling, I reply, relishing the power I'm wielding. I have nothing to lose, you on the other hand. Your entire world is built on this charade, and I'm holding the match. Safi's expression morphs from disbelief to dawning realization. She glances at James, her loyalty cracking like thin ice underfoot. What do you mean? She asks, her voice barely above a whisper, as if she's suddenly aware of the precarious position they are both in. It means, I say, straightening up, that I have everything I need to expose you to the very elite circles you love so much. Imagine the headlines, James, the scandal, the fall from grace. His eyes narrow, and for a fleeting moment I see the fear behind the. I leave them behind, the weight of their shock heavy in the air, a stark contrast to the lightness that fills my chest. The door swings shut with a soft click, sealing in the chaos of that exquisite dining room where power was once a game played at their convenience. Now it rests in my hands, me calculated moves have turned them into unwilling pawns. Stepping into the crisp London night, the cool breeze washes over me like a refreshing balm. The city is alive, a symphony of distant laughter and the hum of luxury cars gliding past on the pavement. Mayfair's opulence feels stark against the starkness of my victory. I glance back at the frosted glass where shadows of their disarray flicker like a bad dream. James thought he could erase me, but I've rewritten the narrative. I've been the silent observer for too long, and now I am the author of their downfall. My heart races not from fear but from exhilaration. an intoxicating cocktail of empowerment coursing through my veins. As I step onto the cobblestone streets, I allow myself a moment to breathe it all in. The world is vast and my future is unwritten. I want just move forward, redefine the terms of my existence. Each step away from that club feels like shedding layers of who I was, making room for who I'm becoming. The echo of their disbelief lingers in my mind, a satisfying reminder that I am no longer invisible. I am Clara Mitchell, and I'm just getting started. I stand at the entrance of the private social club, heart racing, the air thick with anticipation and the faint scent of aged whiskey. Marble floors gleam beneath the soft glow of crystal chandeliers, each facet reflecting a world of opulence I once helped maintain. Here, in this sanctuary of power and exclusivity, the stakes are high, and I am both the intruder and the architect of my own reckoning. My mind whirls as I take in the lavish decor-deep mahogany paneling, plush velvet seating, and the subtle hum of hushed conversations that mask the secrets swirling around us like smoke. I've spent years navigating this environment, orchestrating James' life, shielding his indiscretions. But now, as I prepare to confront the very heart of that deception, I can't help but reflect on the loyalty that turned to betrayal. What was it all for? I was more than just a shadow, I was the backbone of his empire, and yet here I am, a mere footnote in his tale, discarded and underestimated. I remind myself of my strategized, meticulously gathered evidence, the alliances forged in quiet corners, all leading to this moment. I take a deep breath, forcing my pulse to steady. The game changes now. I'm not just here to confront them, I'm here to reclaim my narrative. As I step forward, the opulence around me feels less like a gilded cage and more like the stage for my unmasking. I spot them in the far corner of the booth, the dim lighting casting shadows that seem to deepen the rift between them. James leans back, arms crossed, a posture of arrogance masking the tension in his shoulders. Sophie, elegant yet visibly shaken, stirs the ice in her glass, the clink echoing like a countdown in my mind. They are two players in a game I've watched unfold from the sidelines, but tonight the rules are about to change. Every detail of their body language speaks volumes. His dismissive glances, her biting fingernails each a testament to the unraveling thought of their marriage. My heart thrums with a mix of adrenaline and a cold, calculated resolve. This is the moment I've prepared for, the culmination of all the secrets I've meticulously gathered. Taking a steadying breath, I remind myself of the stakes. I am not just walking into this confrontation, I am stepping into a role I never intended to play: an avenger, a truth-teller. The velvet curtains that drape around us feel suffocating, but I embrace the weight of the moment. As I approach their table, I smooth my blouse, a gesture of calm, though my insides churn with anticipation. I'm ready to unleash the truths they've tried to bury. They may think they are safe here, hidden behind the luxury of this private sanctuary, but tonight, all that glitters will be shattered by revelations that refuse to stay silent. I slide into the booth, the plush velvet cushions absorbing my attention as I lock eyes with James and Sophie. The air crackles with unspoken words, and I can sense their unease radiating off them like heat from a fire. The opulence of the Klubit's polished wood and shimmering chandeliers feels like a cruel joke, a fad that can't contain the truth festering beneath. Let's cut to the chase, I begin, my voice steady despite the storm raging inside me. You think you can keep hiding behind your lies and your wealth, but the truth is, I know everything. James' bravado falters for a heartbeat, but he quickly regains his composure, a veneer of arrogance slipping back into place. What are you talking about, Clara? You've always been loyal. You're making a mistake. Loyalty, the word tastes bitter on my tongue. Loyalty, you tossed me aside like a used tissue the moment your wife caught wind of your affair. But the real twist, I'm not the one you should be worried about. I let the last words hang in the air, a weighty pause pregnant with anticipation. Safi's ice-cold demeanor cracks, her fingers tightening around her glass as she snaps, "You don't know what you're talking about." The denial drips from her voice, but there's a tremor beneath its vulnerability she desperately tries to mask. I lean in, savoring the power shift. "Oh, but I do. I know all about your little financial games, James, and I have the proof." The room feels smaller, the walls closing in. James' bravado falters for just a moment, but it's enough to send a thrill through me. I relish the shift in power, the way his confident mask slips, revealing the man Beniathone who is, after all, just as vulnerable as the rest of us. "You think you can intimidate me?" James sneers, his voice low and menacing. "You're out of your depth, Clara. I have connections, people who can make your life a living hell." I can feel my lips curling into a smirk, the sort of expression that would make anyone else nervous. "Hell, you think I'm afraid of hell? I've been living in the shadows of your lies for 8 years. The real hell was your office, with its frosted glass and whispered secrets that echoed like a ghost. But now," I lean forward, lowering my voice just enough for the words to slice through the tension. "Now I hold the cards." Sophie, perched delicately between us, clutches her glass tighter, her knuckles whitening. "Clara, this isn't how it has to be," she says, her voice wavering. "We can find a way to settle this without what?" I interrupt, my patience thinning. "Without the truth coming to light. Your husband's infidelities and financial malfeasance are just the tip of the iceberg, Sophie. You may not want to face it, but I've documented everything. I can bring this empire crashing down before you can even blink." The club around us, with its luxurious decor and hushed conversations, feels like a stage set for a drama that's about to unfold. The air in the booth thickens, heavy with the weight of unspoken accusations and a past that feels suffocating. I can see the wheels turning in James' mind, calculating, strategizing. He's always been the master of manipulation, but tonight the tables are turned, and I can almost taste the adrenaline that propels me forward. "You think you can threaten me," he retorts, but there's a slight tremor in his voice, a crack that betrays the bravado. "You think anyone will believe you?" I lean back, crossing my arms, allowing a mirthless smile to creep across my face. "Believe me, James, I have proof that even your connections can't erase. You've built this empire on lies, but ill dismantle it piece by piece." Sophie, caught in the crossfire, shifts uncomfortably, her polished fod starting to fray at the edges. "Clara, please." "You don't have to do this," she says, desperation threading through her words. But I can see it now. The truth is like a crack in the ice, and she knows it's only a matter of time before it all collapses. "It's too late for that," I reply coolly. "Your husband made his choices, and now he'll face the consequences. And so will you, whether you choose to acknowledge it or not." Their silence speaks volumes, a shared realization settling over the table like a thick fog. The truth, once hidden behind frosted glass and five-star facades, now stands exposed, raw and unforgiving. In this moment, I am no longer the dutiful assistant. I am the sun filters through the floor-to-ceiling windows of my luxury penthouse, illuminating the chaos I've meticulously crafted. Documents are spread across the sleek, polished surface of my desk, me lifeline, my arsenal. Each file is a testament to the last 8 years of my life, each page a whisper of betrayal, secrets unveiled, and a path forged from silence to strategy. I pause, taking a deep breath, the scent of fresh coffee mingling with the faint trace of leather from the office chair that feels too big for the moment. This is my space, but it's also a battleground. As my fingers skim over the meticulously organized evidence against James, a mix of satisfaction and apprehension washes over me. This isn't just about revenge, it's about reclaiming my narrative, about finally being the one who decides the ending. The city hums below me, a tapestry of lives entwined in their own dramas, oblivious to my transformation. I think of the exclusive social club where the final act will unfold, the opulence masking the tension beneath. The air crackles with possibility, my heart beats in sync with the pulse of London, each thud a reminder that I am no longer just a shadow in James's world. I will be the storm he never saw coming. With a newfound resolve, I begin sorting the documents again. Each one is a thread in this complex tapestry I've woven, and I will ensure they lead to the truth being unveiled. For the first time, I'm not just watching the game, I'm playing it. Memories flood back, sharp and vivid, as I sift through the evidence before me. Each interaction with James feels like a scene from a meticulously crafted play, where the dialogue was scripted to showcase his charm and cunning. I can almost hear his smooth voice, laced with feigned concern, as he reassured me that loyalty was a two-way street. How naive I was to believe that loyalty meant anything to a man who thrived on manipulation. I remember the first time I caught a glimpse of his true nature. It was during a meeting at the HNWI Mayfair office, the air thick with ambition and ego. James had brushed aside a junior colleague's suggestion with a wave of his hand, a perfect blend of arrogance and power. I felt a knot form in my stomach, though I buried it beneath a facade of professionalism. It was the day I realized that in his world, vulnerability was a liability. Now those memories don't just haunt me, they fuel my resolve. I'm drafting a plan, a blueprint for the confrontation that will unravel everything he's built on deceit. I take a sip of coffee, the bitter taste grounding me. The social club looms on the horizon, an exclusive venue where secrets are exchanged under the guise of sophistication. Yes, that's where the truth will emerge, where I'll ensure the facade crumbles. With each keystroke, clarity sharpens my strategy. I will expose him not with anger, but with the precision of a surgeon wielding a scalpel. James may have thought he could erase me, but now, I'm the architect of his downfall. The kitchen in my penthouse feels like a sanctuary, bathed in soft light that glints off the polished marble countertops. I lean against the cool surface, my phone pressed to my ear, heart racing with anticipation. David's voice crackles through the line, sharp and clear. "Clara, you're serious about this, right?" His tone is measured, a blend of curiosity and cautious optimism. "You've got everything lined up, more than you know," I reply, a smirk creeping onto my lips. "I've gathered enough evidence to topple an empire. James may think he can play God, but I've got the receipts." I can almost hear the wheels turning in his head, the sharpness of his intellect matching my resolve. You know how hell react, he won't go down quietly. Good, I'm counting on it. The thrill of this calculated game sends a rush through me, igniting the embers of vengeance that have been smoldering since the day I was fired. Each detail I've documented is a weapon, each figure a reminder of his hubris. "Meet me at the social club tomorrow," David suggests, his voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper. "We'll finalize our strategy." I nod even though he can't see me. "Tomorrow, then. Let's make sure James remembers who he underestimated." As I hang up, a smile dances across my lips. In this sleek, cold kitchen, I'm not just reclaiming power, I'm rewriting my story, one meticulous detail at a time. Standing in front of the full-length mirror, I scrutinize my reflection. The sleek silhouette of my tailored dress hugs my frame, its sharp lines a testament to the transformation I've undergone. I no longer see the timid assistant who shuffled papers and whispered in the shadows. Today, I am a woman on a mission, ready to reclaim the narrative James tried to erase. I reach for my favorite pair of heels, the ones that elevate not just my height, but my confidence. The click of their soles against the hardwood floor echoes like the steady drumbeat of my resolve. I can almost feel James' dismissive gaze slide off me as I step into the persona I've meticulously crafted. Each accessory a simple silver necklace, stud earrings adds an air of calculated elegance. I'm dressed not just for the occasion, but for the reckoning. My mind races through the details of our impending confrontation. The social club, with its frosted glass and whispers of privilege, will serve as the stage for the climax of this twisted play. I can practically hear the clinking of glasses, the low hum of conversation, all the while hiding the tempest beneath. I take a deep breath, feeling a thrilling mix of excitement and trepidation coil in my gut. This is it, no more being a silent observer. Today I step into the light, ready to expose the cracks in James' polished facade. The game is on, and I'm determined to win. Stepping out of my penthouse, the London night envelops me in its cool embrace. The city pulses with life, a backdrop of shimmering lights reflecting my newfound sense of agency. Each street lamp casts an amber glow, illuminating the path toward the private social club, a fortress of privilege where secrets linger like smoke in the air. As I traverse the bustling streets, the sounds of laughter and clinking glasses spill from nearby trattorias. The aroma of rich Italian cuisine wafts through the air, tantalizing yet distant, a world I once belonged to but now observe from the outside. Tonight, I'm not just a bystander, I'm the orchestrator of a reckoning. The heels of my shoes click against the cobblestones, a steady rhythm that matches the quickening pace of my heart. Each step draws me closer to the confrontation that will redefine my narrative. I glance at the reflection in a frosted window, a stranger staring back, poised and confident. This is the woman I've become, one who won't be silenced or dismissed. The social club looms ahead, its elegant facade promising exclusivity and discretion. But behind those frosted glass doors lies the chaos of betrayal, and I'm ready to expose it all. Tonight, James will learn that I am no longer the loyal assistant he discarded. I am the storm he never saw coming.